So I'm going to cover the last part of the instructional PowerPoint over dry cooking with air. So the first part of this covered that dry cooking methods use air and oil. So the next lesson is going to talk about the different ways to cook with oil, but I want to wrap up this lesson. I'm here with my friend Maisie. This is Maisie the Mastiff. She is enjoying a lovely snooze on the couch. So if you hear some snoring, that is probably what you hear because she's very loud, because she's really big, but she's very gentle. So when we're talking about roasting and baking, and I actually am leaving the PowerPoint like this so that you can see these notes at the bottom. If you open the instructional PowerPoint on your own, linked from Canvas, then you can actually read some of the notes. And the notes in the PowerPoint are good to look through because it's kind of what I would say in the classroom or here on the video. So roasting and baking are techniques in which the food is surrounded by hot, dry air in the oven. So as the food becomes heated, the food loses its juices. These turn into steam. They're absorbed back by the food. Some items can basting is when you actually take juices from the food item, or you take another food item like melted butter or sauce, and you either squeeze or drizzle or brush over the top of an item. If you have a covered vessel like a roasting pan or dish, then the steam from that can actually steam up inside and then drip back down onto that food product and baste it. So whether you are roasting or basting, you are looking at foods that are tender and you are trying to get a nice brown exterior and but still keep things nice and juicy. So you can bake food covered or uncovered depending on your recipe. If you do it uncovered, you're going to get a lot more of a golden brown top. Like when I do roasted potatoes, my husband likes them softer, so I do them in a Pyrex dish with a lid on it, and that keeps the juices inside, self-basting, and then it keeps them softer. A lot of times I'll kind of take the lid off in the last couple minutes of cooking to kind of crisp up the top. So you can kind of do a combination, but it's not going to turn as brown with the lid on as it will with the lid off. And we've kind of been talking about that in class through the Maillard reaction anyway. So roasting is generally a little bit longer, and when you are roasting a food item, you generally put it in a pan and you lift it up off the bottom so that the hot air goes all the way around it. You should also add some liquid to the pan. That keeps in the flavor and the moisture as well. When it comes to searing, so the last concept here, or next to last concept is searing, and this means to quickly brown the outside. And we've been talking a lot in searing as we talked about the Maillard reaction. So searing is often the first, sometimes it's the cooking process, and sometimes it's the first part of a cooking process if you're going to be doing a combination cooking method, which we'll talk about in the next couple of lessons, or the first step in stewing. So here is a link to the article here. And then the last, dry cooking with air. This is when food is cooked directly on the hot, flat surface. So this will give you a golden brown finish, a crisp exterior. You're looking at steaks or chops, chicken breasts, pancakes, griddle cakes, eggs. There are electric griddles. There are gas griddles. There sometimes a stove may have a griddle directly linked on it. So this is just essentially griddling is cooking food on a hot, flat surface. It's usually relatively dry. There might be a little bit of oil involved. And so this is kind of what we're doing when we are searing or browning chops or pork chops or steak. And if you have ever gone to a hibachi grill or gone to a Japanese restaurant where they have cooked directly in front of you, you have seen this. If you've also gone to Waffle House, you've also seen somebody cooking directly on a big griddle. Lots of food, hot surface, directly on the surface. That's griddling.